Good morning, Mr. Buzz. How's it going, sir?
Morning, Alex. Very well. How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. What do we have this week?
We have a Prime movie.
Yeah.
That's where we both watched it. Called The Green Knight, starring is it Dev Patel? I think his
Dev
name
Patel,
is.
yeah?
Yeah, and he plays the protagonist in the film. And he's called. Is his name? Is it Gale or?
Sir Gawain, yeah.
Gawain,
Gawain.
and Sir Gawain, and essentially it's a bit of a legend, a bit of mythology, and the story kind of goes like this. It's like Sir Gawain, he's with the king and queen,
Arthur.
at
Let's
a
just
round
say
table.
it's in that time. It's an
Yeah.
Arthurian legend, basically, yeah. King
Yeah,
Arthur.
yeah. And he's at the round table essentially, and in comes this Green Knight made of like wood and moss and what have you.
And the roots
And
and leaves.
and he has this game for all the knights round the table and the king and queen, and what essentially what it is someone's going to challenge him to a duel, and has to smite him in a way. Now it doesn't specify in what way. It could be a cut to the arm, or it could be a nick to the cheek, or it could even be slicing off your head. And no one accepts a challenge apart from Sir Gawain. That's what it is, Gawain.
Yeah.
And he accepts a challenge. And the Green Knight, reminds him that whatever injury you cause to me, you have to return to my homeland in 1 year, and it's on Christmas Day, I think, isn't it? So
Yes, yeah.
next year, Christmas Day,
Yeah.
and I get to do this to you as well, the same injury, and that's kind of the tale really, and that's how it all kicks off.
Yeah.
And what Sir Gawain actually ends up doing is actually slicing his head off because the Green Knight allows him to. And then you kind of see it unfold, don't you? And so that's the premise, that's the setup for the film.
That's a very good
Alex.
point.
So what
He
do we
allows
think?
him to, yeah. We never talk about that because
Yeah, the
he allows
Green Knight, yeah, that's a good talk about. He just allows him. He just kneels in front of Sir Gawain and allows Sir Gawain to slice his head off, which is a talking point in itself, because I don't really know why Sir Gawain, or why the legend has it. Why does he cut his head off if he knows, because the game entails that he will have to repeat that process in a year?
He will get his pun. Well, when he goes back, it'll be exactly the same. So yeah, correct, yeah.
Could you make a point right now? Could you make a point now that maybe that's part of the legend, is that he's foolish enough to do that, and he wasn't trusting in the future that he would have to go back, and that's probably why he sliced his head off.
I think it just shows his immaturity, which starts off this film. Basically, let's just set it in stone. No puns intended, like Excalibur in stone. This is an Arthurian legend, and it is the original legend is Gawain was aiming to be honorable enough to be one of King Arthur's knights. He's a young lad, and he's trying to become a knight around the table, the round table, and he takes up this challenge, and he has 1 year to. By the time he goes back to the Green Knight to get his punishment, sort of, he needs to become honorable enough to be a knight and do valiant things and honorable things in that year. So I think that is the original, based on what I've read, is the original Arthurian legend from the 14th century. However, this film, nowhere close to that, to be honest. So that's the premise, and very well said. That's the premise. As soon as obviously, Gawain doesn't do anything honorable in that year. He just continues to be a drunk and continues to whore.
Yeah, you're saying he was drinking and going to
and
whorehouses
gets
and
into
stuff
fights. So
like
he's
that.
nothing.
He's almost not taking it seriously. He's not taking he's got a year to almost plan this venture.
Yeah, but exactly, he's got a year to try and make something of his life, to have a purpose of his life, or to think about it, and he fails at that. But the thought of going back to this. He even thinks it's just a game. It was just a game, the challenge. And does he have to go back to the night, and across the lands and find this green chapel and meet him again in a year's time? So he's immature, and the journey that he has to make. This is what the film follows. The journey that he has to make to the Green Knight is the bulk of the movie, and what a journey that is, isn't it, Baz?
Yeah, absolutely fantastic it was. Yeah, I mean, me and you, I think, between us could just name scene by scene of how fantastic this actually looked. And never mind shots that run over 30 seconds, which are impressive in themselves. But it's almost like the adventure, as soon as he leaves the castle to find this chapel that the Green Knight's in, it's like the film is designed to look like to almost, the story is trying to get him in good scenic situations.
Surreal, surreal, yes.
And surreal. There's a lot of dream state looking environments as well, and that can go from the absolute surreal, things looking out of place, things being too big and too small, to just really lovely like nighttime shots through a house or underwater shots, and it's just very, very bizarre to the eye, but absolutely fantastic.
Also dream-like, scary, man. It felt so dangerous at one point because you wouldn't know what you're going to get from one shot to another, like you said.
Yeah. And I think what's really, really great as well is while you're going through all this and your eyes are being blessed with what you've seen on screen, like what's so good about Garwin and his character is that he's very relatable, because although he's obviously a hero, like, he's the hero protagonist who's on a journey, and that's very stereotypical, but he's stupid, he's naive, he's foolish, he's confused. He doesn't really even know what he's doing on the adventure, because that's one of the big themes. It's like, is he doing it for honour? But honour for what? And that's a conversation I had by two characters at one point. It's like, for what? And that, like, that bears relevance to today, because it's like, we're all looking for a meaning, aren't we, and a purpose.
And I think I think the way the whole that you just said that is the way it looks, it just created that surrealism, that dreamlike type of feel, because even the discussions, some of discussions are, about the meaning of life, like you said, why are you doing all this adventure? You know how it's going to end, so why are you doing it anyway? But also, he's confronted with his masculinity, he's confronted with his marriage, and he's got these scenes, and then the timelines jump back and forth also, and it shows you what could have happened to him, or what if he made this decision. I don't want to spoil too much, because it's really great to see. And also, he's confronted by, there's a scene where literally the fox protects him. I don't want to spoil that because it's really great. But there's a scene when he needs to have the courage to ask for help from a creature, but that creature can squash him in a moment, and then he has to be brave enough to confront them, and then the fox protects him. So he deals with these life themes that in a very unique way in this dreamlike world. It's like almost like, when back in the like childhood stories, your mom says, never leave the house without telling me because it's dangerous out there. This is what danger looks like in my books.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. And it doesn't cast him in a good light at any point in the film, really, weirdly. You never sit back and go, oh, this guy's a great adventurer, this guy's a great hero, or this guy's a great knight. He always seems to be a bit cast in shame almost. I think, and that makes him more likable. For sure. That makes it more likable. So it definitely gets the thumbs up for me. And just a very interesting film, and I think this is a point worth making as well. It's like there's no action scenes, there's no fighting in the film, and you wouldn't know that unless you thought about it afterwards and thought, bloody hell, actually, stereotypically, there's no big explosions.
It's
in
a
that
fantasy film.
But yet it was gripping.
There's no magic spelling or any balls of lightning or fire or nothing like that.
This, no.
So it's The Green Knight. It's on Amazon Prime. It was in cinemas, unfortunately missed it, but absolutely well worth it, don't you think?
Absolutely brilliant, yeah. I think maybe overshadowed a little bit
by the other titles in the cinema at the moment. Correct, yeah.
Yes, yeah. You just got to give the director credit, man, for not,
David
putting
Lowery.
bums on seats.
Absolutely.
Yeah, putting bums on seats with your stereotypical, as I say, all action masterpiece, because you don't get a lot of films like this anymore, do you?
Correct. All right, sir. We'll talk to you next week.
All right, take care, Alex. Bye.
Bye.